It's the Wild Man, Chris Wilds, and I'm coming to you today with a special What If edition of the OHIO podcast. So during the off season, sometimes it's a little tough to find content for you guys, and we like to keep you entertained and keep you talking during the off season about our Ohio State football team, the current reigning national champions. And I thought, what's a good topic I could bring up? A good what if that's going to stir some discussion, that's going to bring some opposing viewpoints and just get everybody talking. So I thought, let's talk coaches. Now, we've had some great coaches at Ohio State. Urban Meyer, national champion. Jim Tressel, national champion. Earl Bruce, well-loved coach. John Cooper, a man who I think had he coached in this era would have had at least one, if not two, national titles in the playoff era. But the measuring stick has always been Woody Hayes. And why not? Woody Hayes is a man who was at Ohio State for 28 seasons. He amassed 5 national titles, 13 Big Ten championships, and a winning record over that team up north. In fact, he is what made the rivalry a rivalry. His hatred of that team up north took the game to a new level. That being said, what if I told you that Ryan Day, Ohio State's current head coach, a man with a 1-4 record versus that team up north, if current trends continue, with one exception, I could argue for Ryan Day as the best coach in Ohio State history in half the time. Now, will he have the gaudy numbers of Woody Hayes? No. But if you look at the percentages, if you look at the quality versus the quantity, I think we can make an argument that Ryan Day could, with 8 more seasons, arguably become, at least in the discussion, as the greatest coach in Ohio State football history. So let's start out by looking at the man right now. Let's start out looking at Woody Hayes. Woody Hayes, as I said, 28 seasons at the helm of Ohio State. A 238, 72, and 10 record. That's a 761 winning percentage overall. 5 national championships. 13 Big Ten titles. Only had a 5-6 bowl record. 455 winning percentage in bowls. Not real solid. What was solid was a 770 winning percentage in the Big Ten. 205, 61, and 10 in Big Ten competition. He had a record of 49, 32, and 7 versus top 25 teams. That's a 605 winning percentage. That is not too bad. And then versus that team up north, 16, 11, and 1. That's a 592 winning percentage. Guys, that's pretty good. That's historic. Now let's take a look at Ryan Day. 6 seasons at the helm as Ohio State head coach. 70-10 record. 875 winning percentage. 4 CFP appearances. 1 natty. 2 Big Ten titles. 6 and 4 in bowl games. That's a 600 winning percentage. 56 and 6 versus the Big Ten. That is over 90% winning percentage versus your conference. That is domination. Ryan Day versus top 25 teams is 24-9. He is 15-8 versus top 10 teams. 7-6 now after this last amazing run in the playoffs to get him to a .538 winning percentage versus the top 5. The one negative on Ryan Day's record is that Michigan win-loss record. That 1-4. That 200 winning percentage. But guys, that could all change. That could all change. How could it change? Well, let's look at Ryan Day's potential over the next 8 seasons based on his current winning trends, with the exception of fixing what I'm going to call the Michigan problem. Ryan Day would be 182-26 overall. He should make in 8 seasons, based on his current trends, 7 CFP appearances, given the extended format as well. Honestly, he should probably make all 8, but we're going to go with 7. We're going to give him a down year. I think he should reach the point of 3 national titles, 2 additional to go with the one he already has. I feel like he should reach 4 additional Big Ten titles at minimum, if not 5. But we're going to go with 4, and he's going to have 6 Big Ten titles. 14-8 bowl record, 126-14 versus the conference. Still keeps him 90%. 59-22 versus the top 25. Guys, that's better than Woody. I mean, let's call it what it is. That's better than Woody did in 28 years. Versus the top 10, he'd be 54-28, 25-21 versus top 5 teams. If he could go 6-2 versus what should be, I still think, a somewhat down Michigan program over the next 8 seasons, he would go to 7-6 and get to a .538 winning percentage. That's doable. I truly believe that's doable. But he's got to get over his Michigan problem. But then things get really interesting here. Let's take a look at what happens if the NCAA actually swings the hammer. How is that going to change things up? Well, guys, over the course of 8 seasons, and should Michigan have to vacate victories, then we are looking at still the same number of wins, 182-26. I still think the CFP appearances, the national championships, the Big Ten championships, bowl record, that's all going to stay the same. But what is going to change is that Big Ten record. We're going to go from a 90% winning percentage to a 92%. 926. 126-10 against your conference. That is unheard of. Versus the top 25, he's going to jump to an 88% winning percentage. He's going to be an 880 with a record of 59-18. He would go to 54-24 for a 692 winning percentage versus the top 10. And again, these are based on his current trends and 3 vacated Michigan losses, or vacated Michigan victories. He would be 25-17 versus the top 5, 595. And if you vacate those 3 ill-gotten wins that Michigan acquired, I would have them at 7-3 should Ryan go 6-2. he would be 7-3 with a 700 winning percentage over that team up north. Guys, it's hard to argue those numbers are not among the best, if not the best, in Ohio State history. And it would be over a 14-year period, given he stayed 8 more seasons. So let's look at the head-to-head. Should he stay the 8 seasons and Michigan vacates? Ryan's going to have, based on his current winning trends, the higher winning percentage at 875. While Woody will have more national championships, Ryan would have just over half, 3 to Woody's 5, in half the number of years. Big Ten championships, I figure Ryan for 6 to 7. He'll be just under half or just over half. I went with 6 here, but I think it could be 7 as well. And he would do it in half the years. Bowl record, based on his current winning percentage, Ryan's going to blow Woody Hayes out of the water. Big Ten winning percentage, again, based on current trends, Ryan Day is going to blow Woody Hayes out of the water. And given what I said, and I even adjusted here, I actually gave Michigan an extra win and Ohio State an extra loss in here and went from 7-3 and took him to 6-4, which means all he would have to do is go 5-3. He would still have a 600 winning percentage, which would be higher than Woody Hayes. I believe that we can make a legitimate argument that based on the numbers, if Ryan Day stays 8 seasons and continues his current trends, there is a legitimate argument that he would be the greatest coach in Ohio State history. Yes, you give Woody Hayes credit, as it's due, 5 national titles, 13 Big Ten titles, a 28-year tenure for Ohio State. Unprecedented. Unprecedented. But if you go off the numbers and you look at the percentages, if Ryan Day stays just half the time and continues along his current trends, I think the argument is real that Ryan Day is the best coach in Ohio State history. This is going to seem weird, maybe even hypocritical to some of you coming from me. Ryan Day's biggest and most staunch critic for the last few years following these losses to that team up north. And maybe you're right. Maybe it is. But this is me taking my heart out of it. This is me taking the angry fan out of it. This is me just looking at it analytically. You look at the current trends of Ryan Day. You look at the current state of football. You look at where college football is at right now. I think we may not only have the best coach in Ohio State history, we may have the best coach in the nation to guide this team through the current climate of college football. With NIL, with the transfer portal, with recruiting being the wild, wild west. Ryan Day has mastered this. And this last season, we finally got the majority of the results that we desired as Ohio State fans. One little problem. One thing standing in the way of this argument being for real. This is the MJ LeBron James argument right now. This is the MJ LeBron James argument. If Ryan Day gets a winning percentage over 500 versus that team up north. And he adds 2 more titles. And I project he will. So, hey, everybody, thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe. Please give me your comments. Tell me what you think. Tell me if you think I'm an idiot. I don't care. Tell me if you think I'm on the right track. Tell me if you think the possibility is there. Just leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. Until next time, thank you for watching, and go Bucks.